On today's show, Kawhi Leonard calls game. Going to be talking about how that game against the Pelicans went down to start our in-season tournament campaign on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA, home of the world champion Los Angeles Dodgers once again. Shout out to all my Clipper Dodger fans. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod, although my Twitter's still hacked. Subscribe to this channel, Locked On Clippers, and my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper. I've been covering the Clippers for 6 years and 4 right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Subscribe and hit the notification bell to get us to 8,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Gametime is the best place to get great deals last minute on tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the late episode. I was at a Halloween party on Friday night, which caused me to miss the game, including watching it, so I had to watch it the next day. And then I had a game to coach, and then it was the Dodgers, and then boom, just like that, we're celebrating in the streets, and now here I am. So now that the Dodgers are over, my schedule will be a lot more free. Apologies for the delay on the weekend episode, especially a game that was so great for the Clippers. Funny enough, both of the Kawhi Leonard game winners these last 2 years, I wasn't able to attend the game. So that sucks, but Kawhi Leonard adds another game winner to his Clipper catalog. We're going to be talking about that. Going to be talking about the different approach I saw from James Harden in this game, including the substitution patterns that Ty Lue used, the new substitution patterns. And I'm going to be talking about what I saw from the other guys, including Zoo, John Collins, and more. But Kawhi Leonard, before this game, he had a couple of game winners for the Clippers. He had the game winner against the Houston Rockets, his first season as a Clipper. Then we went a couple of years without one. In 2023, he had a game winner against the Charlotte Hornets. And then in 2024, he had a game winner, I guess you can call it one, against the Philadelphia 76ers, where he had this reverse layup in Philadelphia. Now, I don't know if you consider that a game winner. I would have to check how much time there was left. I mean, what do you consider a game winner? That game came on March 24th, 2024. Or was it March 24th, 2024? March 27th, 2024. And Kawhi Leonard made a shot to give us the lead with 15 seconds left. Oh, so that is a kind of a game winner. It was the and one with 15 seconds left. So that's a game winner. So that's 3 game winners at that point. And then, of course, last year against the Sacramento Kings was number 4, and then this one, number 5. And what a shot it was. After we were up by 17 points at one point of that third quarter, 90-73, the Pelicans came roaring back behind Jordan Poole's really hot shooting game. He had, I believe, 7 threes made in the game. Let me double check. Yeah, 7 for 13 from deep. Kept him in it. And overall, the Pelicans shooting 18 for 37 from 3, which is good enough for 49%, really kept them within striking distance. And Zion Williamson just took over this game late in many ways, although I don't know why it took him so long to get going. Like, he should have been shooting way more than 17 shot attempts, but it took him a while. He did start taking over late, tied the game at 124. We had no timeouts remaining. Derrick Jones Jr. pushed it up the floor, and credit to Kawhi, he was coming to the ball. He was looking to get that shot off, looking to go get it from DJ, gets the ball, stops on a dime, uses the pump fake, and he uses pump fakes as well as any player in the league, gets, I think, 2 guys in the air, and then swishes a long 2 from the left wing to win us the game at the horn. One of Kawhi's most epic moments as a Clipper thus far, to open up our in-season tournament campaign or the NBA Cup campaign and give us the 126-124 win. And I think the beauty of it isn't just that Kawhi made a game winner. It's that he legitimately took over this game late. This game was too close for comfort. We kind of let the Pelicans hang around. allowed too many points. I mean, Zion had 29 points. Jeremiah Fears had a really solid game. He didn't shoot well, but he had a very solid game with 13 points. And Jordan Poole had 30 points off the bench for the Pels. So they gave us all we could handle. They shot 48% from the field, 49 from three, and 90 from the line. And they shot 29 free throws, which was 8 more attempts than we did. So outside of the field goal percentage department, well, actually, no, we shot slightly better from free throw than them as well. They shot 26 for 29. We shot 19 for 21. So 52% shooting for us, 48% shooting for them. We shot 38.5% from three, which is not bad at all. It's actually very solid, but they shot 49% from three. So it kept them in it, but Kawhi Leonard making that game winner and just being able to take over that game late, it was big time. And the crazy part is, like, Kawhi had a huge three late in the game. But the crazy part is, Kawhi Leonard is the one that turned the ball over. We were up 7 points with like a minute and a half left or something. And Kawhi, it reminded me of that game one against the Nuggets last year where he kind of lost the ball on the sideline. He just kind of presented the ball to Jeremiah Fears and he tipped the ball and then it went off Kawhi's hand. So they got them the ball back. So that was very nervy with 13 and a half seconds left. And mind you, as I said, we were up 117 to 124 with a minute left in the game. And Zion just kind of got them back in it. Started with an and one, and then Sadiq Bey got some free throws. So it was nervy, but the important thing is that we got the job done. And I thought Kawhi was masterful in this game. I thought he was our best player in the third quarter with those 3 threes that he hit. That snatchback one that led to a Pelicans timeout to make it 80-71 in the third quarter was just beautiful. That's when you know Kawhi really got going. He hit 3 threes in that third quarter, as I said, and I also thought he was the best player in the fourth quarter. You know, James had a nice little stretch where he restored order when the Pelicans took the lead for a minute early in that fourth quarter, but Kawhi Leonard, I thought 2 games now this season, and I'll take my L on this. I've been pretty critical of Kawhi not closing games well enough at times as a Clipper, seeming like he's running out of legs and not making the big shot. And in this game and in the Portland game, he has made the big shot. He has made the big plays. And that's why we brought him to LA for, to be that guy, to close games, to take over late, be that Terminator. And it's not like he's never done it. Look no further than Game 6 against the Mavs in 2021 or even Game 2 against the Denver Nuggets last year. But there have been a lot of games where it seems like Kawhi's run out of legs. He's missed shots late in games, short. And this was not one of those games. Kawhi Leonard gets us the win, 126-124. He finishes with 34 points to lead the way for your Clippers, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and maybe the most impressive stat of all, 6 steals, 5 of them coming in the first half. He shot 11 for 16 from the field and 5 for 8 from downtown and was 7 for 7 from the free throw line. So those shooting splits are absolutely ridiculous. 69, 62.5, 100 splits. I mean, it's just as simple as this, Clipper Nation. In 5 games that we've played this season, Kawhi Leonard has played great in 3 of them, and we have won all 3 of them. And in 2 games that he has not played very well, we have lost. So to some degree, we live and die by Kawhi, and that's kind of been the case since we signed him. 126-124 is the score. Kawhi Leonard, the man for the big occasion, knocks down the big shot. But coming up, going to be talking about the other man for the big occasion, James Harden, his approach to the game, and what Ty Lue did to switch up our substitution pattern. I got to tell you a little something about Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win. Not just on game day, every day. Locking in on every opening, beating your personal record, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, That's robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. I got to tell you a little something about Gametime. Gametime is the best place to get great deals on tickets. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Gametime comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. Their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section, Gametime picks your seats, and you save big. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. All right. So, Clippers winning this one 126 to 124. We remain undefeated at home. And last year we were 30-11 at Intuit Dome after starting 0-4 there. So it's a great feeling to just defend home court and make Intuit Dome kind of our fortress. But in this game, we got Bradley Beal back. He actually played a season-high 21 minutes, but it seems like he's still on kind of a minutes restriction of around 20. And we switched up our rotation this game. Instead of, and this might be a response, well, it definitely is a response to James Harden asking to come out of the game against Golden State, we actually swapped Kawhi and Harden's rotation, like their minutes. It was James Harden now coming out 7 or 8 minutes into the first and third quarters, and Kawhi Leonard playing the entire first and third quarter. So that was really interesting, and I think the goal there is to maybe also give Kawhi Leonard a little bit of rest before he comes in for that closing stretch. And James Harden, what it did was it actually put him with the second unit. So it brought Chris Paul in earlier because we're staggering Chris Paul and James Harden. So it brought Chris Paul in earlier to play with Kawhi. And then to start the second quarter and to start the fourth quarter, Chris Paul was out. So you had James Harden running his own unit, essentially, that second unit. So looking at the minutes exactly, Kawhi Leonard played the entire first quarter and played the entire third quarter. So I believe those are the first full quarters he's played this season. And he had 12 points in the third, and in the fourth, he had 14 points in 6 minutes. 14 points in 6 minutes. That is big time from your best player. But James Harden, so in the first quarter, he was actually on the quieter side. Just 2 points and was really distributing. And one thing I liked was you saw a different approach in this game from James. And I really liked it. We kind of fed Zoo early on. He also gave Beal some touches. And I think that was a coaching staff emphasis as well, to get Beal some touches and to run some plays for him. Like the first play of the third quarter we ran was for Beal. But I saw James Harden give him some reps to, run pick and roll and stuff, which I thought was very, leader-like of him to try to make sure that Brad was feeling good and he wasn't feeling like possessions were just going by and he wasn't involved. And then in the fourth quarter, and honestly to begin the second quarter, James started cooking. With Chris Paul out of the game, I thought that, and I also thought James did a really good job defensively in this game, closing out and helping and recovering and closing out to the shooters with a high hand. So I thought his defensive effort was pretty good. But he made some amazing lob passes in this game, James Harden. One to John Collins. He had one to Derrick Jones Jr. And he just started to cook in that second quarter. 14 points in it, getting by guys left and right, cooking in the pick and roll. At one point, they started switching 1 through 5, New Orleans, when they had a smaller 5 in. It was Carlo Matkovic. When they had him at the 5, it was only 3 minutes, but they were switching 1 through 5, and James was kind of just going at him. But I thought it was a really solid performance in that second quarter from James. And then in the fourth quarter, for a second, when New Orleans had taken the lead, he restored order. Cross Zion, and then after a Brook Lopez block, James hit a pull-up three to make it 105-96, and then the Pelicans called timeout. As far as defense, in that fourth quarter, they had Jordan Poole hedging on James Harden, so they were afraid to switch Jordan Poole onto him. But I thought James's approach overall was really good. I'm going with Kawhi as my player of the game, but I think you could easily make a case for James to be the player of the game. He had 24 points, 5 rebounds, 14 assists. He makes it look easy sometimes, just how he can rack up those assists. 14 dimes, 2 steals, 4 turnovers on 8 for 19 shooting. The only thing that didn't really fall for him was the 3-ball. 4 for 13 from deep, 4 of 5 from the free throw line. But I like the approach, and I honestly like the minutes distribution. You know, when we had Paul George, we used to do a similar thing with Kawhi and Paul George, where Kawhi would play the whole third, and then Paul George would play the whole fourth. But it would make me nervous because what would happen was Paul would get a rhythm, and then we'd kind of start playing through Paul in the fourth instead of Kawhi, who never really got a rhythm. I hope that doesn't happen again. It's something that I'll be mindful of. Because in this game, James actually in the first half of the fourth quarter got going, but then when Kawhi came in, he kind of took it by the throat and took over the game, and James let him do it. So I think it's partially on James, like Paul George and James, to kind of let Kawhi do their thing and sacrifice. But I also think it's on Kawhi to go out there and just get it. You know, I think partially I would use the rhythm thing, but might have been an excuse to some degree, you know? It's like he's out of rhythm. Do you want Kawhi to play the whole fourth quarter for rhythm purposes? Or do you want him to get some rest in the beginning of the fourth quarter so he has fresh legs in those final 6 minutes? That's the thing. But anyway, I like the switch. And Chris Paul, you know, he only played 9 minutes, right? The 9 minutes that James Harden didn't play. There's really no point of playing them together. And if that's the case, I mean, I don't think we're going to need to play James Harden that much. I think we could rest him a couple more minutes, maybe play him 36 to 37 minutes. But I like the approach of not playing them together. Chris Paul running with Kawhi. Chris Paul only played 9 minutes, as I said. He made a 3. It was 3 points for him. 1 rebound, 4 assists, no turnovers, which that's more like it from CP3. He was 1 for 4 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, did not shoot a free throw. We got outscored 28-26 in the first. I thought it was mainly just a really hot shooting start from the Pels. We had DJ on Jeremiah Fears, Kawhi Leonard on Herb Jones, Zoo on Eve Missy, James Harden was on Zion. And that's the thing that made me kind of surprised, was that we had James Harden on Zion to start the game and they just weren't even going at him. Now, granted, James Harden is strong. He's a good post defender. But if I'm Zion, I just catch the ball and try to rip through and go. And I feel like we didn't see too much of that. Bradley Beal was on Trey Murphy. And then on the other side, they had Fears on Beal, Zion on Kawhi. And we didn't really go at him too much either. Herb Jones on James Harden, Trey Murphy on DJ, and Eve Missy on Zoo. And a lot of the bigs, mainly all of them, were playing drop coverage. Eve Missy, Zubats, Brook Lopez. Then later in the game, Eve Missy switched to a hedge. And as I said, the Pelicans' hot start came from 3, while we were 0 for 4 from 3. So they were up 17-10 at one point of the first quarter, but we responded pretty well. Thought at times Bradley Beal was at fault for some miscommunications early, whether it be like, you know, mainly off-ball screens. But yeah, I thought we did a good job of playing through Zoo early in the game. So coming up, I'm going to be talking about the way we got Zoo involved and the performances of our role players like John Collins, Chris Dunn, and the whole rest of them. A very solid win for the Clippers, because at the end of the day, you just got to get it done. No, the Pelicans were 0-5, but James Harden's approach was really solid. We saw a change in the rotation from Ty Lue. We'll see if it continues to be a thing. We're going to be talking about the performances of Zoo and John Collins and the rest of the boys coming up. I got to tell you a little something about Rue Giat. Now, let me tell you about Rue Giat. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired. Or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rue Giat comes in. RueGiat.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rue Giat makes it to get started. You just connect, makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board certified doctor 100% online, no awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. Visit visit RUGIET.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so they know we sent you. Rugiet. Stop making excuses and start making moves. All right. So the Clippers winning it 126-124, winning our first group stage game of this NBA Cup. We played through Ivica Zubac early on in this game, and I thought he did a good job of looking like the more engaged Ivica Zubac that we know and love, blocking a couple shots at the rim. But also, we got him the ball early on a little Bradley Beal Zoo pick and roll where he had that little push shot, fed him the ball in the post. He went to a baseline spin and then a dunk. He had a nice tip in, and then we saw some 1-3-1 zone from the New Orleans Pelicans. And against a 1-3-1 zone, the corners are the vulnerable and open spots. And there was a nice pass that John Collins made to Ivica Zubac in the dunker spot to finish for an and one. I believe Ivica Zubac had 9 points in the first quarter. So that, 10 points actually he had in the first quarter. So really good to see that from Zoo. And, we were down by 2 after 1, but I just said that all we had to do was just make our threes and we'd be good. As I said, James Harden came in, did some great work in that second quarter. John Collins, I thought, was awesome, by the way. A lob from James, an and one in transition, crashes the offensive glass. We went on a 15-3 run to make it 41-34, capped off by a Nico Batum 3. But the Pels just wouldn't go away all game. They had an 8-0 run to respond right to that. And then Chris Dunn, 3 steals in the first half, getting really active with his hands. Remember, when people are trying to get into the gaps with Chris Dunn and he's digging with his hand, he usually always finds a way to get his hand on the ball, and that can cause transition opportunities. So Chris Dunn, 3 steals in the first half. Kawhi Leonard, 5 steals in the first half. And it's funny, though, they only registered Chris Dunn as having 2 steals in the first half, but it really was 3. I mean, one of them didn't get credited to him, but he caused it. So really solid stuff from Chris Dunn. And we actually tried to mix the defense up a little bit too. We went with some possessions of 2-3 zone late in that second quarter, and it's starting to cause some problems other than Jordan Poole continuing to hit. But we went into the half with some momentum. We outscored the Pelicans 41-31 in the second. James Harden hit a logo 3 on a little 2-for-1 late in that quarter. And DJ had a putback dunk at the buzzer, which was his second of the half. So I just figured if we make threes, we're going to blow them out. But they did a really good job of staying involved. Actually, it was 67-59 at the half. And then Kawhi started getting going in that third quarter with those 3 threes. And Bradley Beal, how about a 7-point quarter for Bradley Beal? First play, nice little curl left to right, Norman Powell style. Then a little fast break lay. Then he hit a 3-ball off a screen. So that was the peak of our game, to be honest, in terms of separation. We went on a 13-0 run to lead 87-71 and a 16-2 run to make it 90-73. But then Zion kind of finally turned up. And I don't know where that was all game, but it started to cause some issues. And I honestly, somebody who I thought wasn't that great in this game was Brook Lopez. I thought he just took too many threes and not many great shots. He had 3 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, and a turnover. And I was 1 for 5 from the field, 0 for 3 from deep, and 1 for 2 from the free throw line in 14 minutes. So I thought we didn't get too much from him. Nico, solid Nico game. 3 points, 5 rebounds. Did turn the ball over twice, though, on 1 for 4 shooting and 1 for 2 from 3. And then John Collins. I mean, I'm surprised, even in that fourth quarter, why we weren't closing with him. We did a lot of Chris Dunn and Derek together in this game, which was fine because defensively that gives us a lot of, 2 guys that can guard at point of attack. But John Collins not closing with Zion out there killing us was an interesting decision, especially considering that John Collins played really well in the second quarter. But DJ, I'm not going to complain about the way DJ played. DJ was good. You know, he had a 3 late in the game too. But, oh, I'm sorry, it was a lob in the short roll from Zoo to make it 124 to 117. But John Collins had 14 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover on 6 for 10 shooting, 1 for 3 from deep, and made his only free throw in 19 minutes. So again, looking forward to seeing more John Collins than what we're seeing. He's been really good so far. The Pelicans, by the way, outscored us 40-32 in the fourth quarter after we outscored them 27-25 in the third. Chris Dunn, he played the most minutes of any bench player, had 6 points, 3 steals, should really be 4. 1 turnover on 3 for 6 shooting. Missed his only 3, but it was good to see him be efficient. Then Bradley Beal, 9 points for him, 7 of those coming in the third. He had a rebound, 2 assists, and a turnover on 3 for 8 shooting and 1 for 2 from 3, and made both his free throws. I think it's a work in progress for Brad. I think it's going to take him some time, but he's coming around. And then you had Derrick Jones Jr., who I thought was awesome. 16 points on 70% shooting, 7 for 10, and 2 for 5 from 3 to go along with 3 boards, 1 assist, and 2 blocks, and no turnovers. He's off to a great start so far this season. So really happy, especially, anytime Derrick can score 16 points in a game, that's always going to be a really big help for us to win a game. And I talked about Kawhi with 34 and James with 24. You got Zubac with a double-double. 14 points, 11 boards. Although I don't like that he had 10 points in the first quarter and then only 4 the rest of the game. We got to remember to keep going to him, and he's got to remember to keep being aggressive. But 5 for 7 from the field. We can't forget about Zoo. 14 points, 11 boards, 3 blocks, no turnovers, and 1 assist, and made all 4 of his free throws. That's what you got to love from Ivica Zubac, is when he's making all his free throws. But solid win. We needed that one. So, as I said, we got to start this season really well. 7-3 minimum. So right now we got 5 more games. We either got to go in this first 10. We either got to go 5-0 or 4-1. The next game is on Monday, the first of a back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken, against the Heat and the Thunder. So the Heat one is very important because, they're actually playing really well right now, though. They're 3-2. They lost to the Spurs, but everyone's losing to the Spurs right now. Here's the thing, though. They're playing the Lakers tonight, so hopefully they'll be tired. That's what I'm hoping for. So second night of a back-to-back, and then we have the second night of a back-to-back against the Oklahoma City Thunder on Tuesday. So should be interesting. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. I guess Twitter's still hacked, but Dodgers really won the World Series, man. I'll be doing some content on that on my YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, on Sunday. Cannot believe it. Really cannot believe it. Shout out to I already said it, but shout out to Locked On Dodgers. Shout out to all the Clipper Dodger fans, man. It's a special time to be alive. And of course, the Clippers are back on Monday. Excited to be back at the game. I'll be there for that one, and I'll be there on Tuesday as well. So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, LA sports, and NBA content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell on the road to 8,000 subs. The age-old proverb continues, go Clippers, Kawhi called game, baby. Add that one to the list.